So unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, I'll have to leave out the qualifying session, but it's Posh Josh on pole by over 7.5 tenths of a second. Back to Cowboy in the Williams, and third for Cynical, fourth for Tono, fifth for Nicky, sixth for Anbu Mason. It's a third row lockout for Alfa Romeo. Seventh is Slayerized, eighth Knuckles, ninth Jorday, 10th belongs to Frenchie, 11th Josh Senior, 12th is Sweet, 13th Travis Scott, 14th is that of Cam Tizzle, 15th belongs to Ray Ray, 16th DJ Knick-Knack. Rounding out the field, P17 is that of Hightower. Unfortunate that I have had to leave out the qualifying session, but Posh Josh, realistically in a league of his own, I think at this stage, 7.5 tenths, almost 8 tenths of a second back to the rest of the grid. Let's see how he handles the race. So assuming we're going to have the 2 minutes here. Now, there has been, as it turns out, a new glitch that has made itself prominent here regarding the formation lap and then disqualification from the session. So for the foreseeable future, formation lap will be turned off. So that gives me the time to tell you, soft tires, lap 15 to 17 is your window, mediums 20 to 23, and hards 23 to 26. I would assume the base strategy obviously is going to be going medium to hards. Dry session all the way throughout, has no threat of rain, so it should be just an all-out race around the circuit. Again, this being one of those tracks that you kind of rely on strategy more than others. So it should be interesting to see. I think a lot of the moves are going to have to be made into the first corner here. DRS will be helpful. That part is for sure. But we'll have to wait and see. Midwest F1 brought to you by Raise Energy and Epos Audio. Very much thank you for them to sticking along here. It's been quite a while since they've joined our proceedings here. Very good to see. So Posh Josh has gone back-to-back from both Silverstone and Shanghai. Or is it Beijing? I forget which one it is. It is Shanghai. Okay, anyways. He's gone back-to-back from Silverstone and Shanghai. Can he pull off the three-peat here? Just in a town northwest of Budapest, in a town called Magyarod, here at the Hungaroring. It'll definitely be an interesting one to see. I think the car on the outside of the grid is that of the pole sitter, so he will not have the preferred line into the first corner. The lights coming on here. We have 5 lights, and that's a jump start there by the Mercedes. And yes, here we are, it's Frenchie who has jumped the start. Down the hill, there's front wing off at the back. Posh Josh has the lead down in the first corner. The two Williams battled it out there for just a minute. Nicky 64 making his way up into P3 already. The Aston Martin then of Slayerized may have gone pushed wide because it was 3 wide between Cynical, Tono, and then that of Slayerized as they race their way down towards turn 1. It's an unfortunate start to the race for Frenchie. He has unfortunately pulled the jump start then, and already Posh Josh has himself a half a second lead. But let's see what happens here with the rest of the grid. Cynical looks under pressure here. He's trying to pressure Tono, and oh, by the way, Tono has not gotten the best start. He's already a second behind, and we have a yellow flag off towards the back. I believe, well, it is the Mercedes of Frenchie. Something's happened with him. I'm wondering whose front wing we saw off at the back of the pack that went flying off the start. It is that of Cam Tizzle. His front wing, the entirety of it, is missing. As you can see on his AlphaTauri, not what he would have wanted, as the rest of the grid heads now down towards turns 12 and 13, and then eventually 14, as we have a yellow flag and it's Hightower off at the back. Several cars have gone around. DJ Knick-Knack has gone around as well, him and the Aston Martin. He's gotten a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Hightower, and the unfortunate start to the season for Red Bull continues, as DJ Knick-Knack and Hightower come together, and the first safety car of the day out on track. Gamboa in the Ferrari was not there during the qualifying session, so he, I would assume, started P18. Yes, he has. He's up 4, and there he goes putting on the hards already. So Ferrari get their second driver on the grid and get themselves into the pits. Now, this is interesting here. Frenchie has fit the hards, but that will not count, I don't think, as DJ Knick-Knack is retired, that being in the pits. That will not count as his drive-through, if I'm to be mistaken. No, it has not. That is not counted as his drive-through. And that is a very unfortunate beginning of the race. But one thing we forgot to check in with, because we didn't have a formation lap, look at the differentials in the tire strategy. Posh Josh on mediums to start, Cowboy on softs. One of only 3 that started on the softs. His other was his co-worker there. Well, I say co-worker, his co-competitor of DJ Knickknack, who unfortunately has found a very short Hungarian Grand Prix here. The rest of the grid pretty much equally split, I'd say, on mediums and hards, back through the top 5 and downwards. Remember, the mediums will last you between 20 and 23, hards 23 and 26 of this 35-lap Grand Prix. So I would assume the soft to hard probably not out the window here. Now, these soft tires now last, I would say, almost 10 laps longer than they did last game. I believe the tire lives for the soft last game was between 5 and 8 laps. It's now 15 to 17 according to the game. So that will go nicely then. And it's good to see that we have some differentiating tire strategies on the grid. But Posh Josh leads the field back around the Hungaroring, what I would assume is one more time, as we now have, I believe that's Hightowers left the session, and the Aston Martin of Cam Tizzle at the back. I would assume has pit. Let's see here. Who has pit, who hasn't? Only 3 of pit, that being Frenchie, Gamboa, and Cam Tizzle. Now remember, Frenchie still has the drive-through penalty for missing the start. And, well, he stopped it, and again, that won't count as his drive-through. He'll need to serve that again. And I would definitely serve that under the safety car here, if possible. The safety car still on track. Posh Josh has the lead. Cowboy, being on the softs, I would assume he might have to get himself quite gutsy here off the start. Nicky64, he's up too. He had a brilliant start, and we were along with it to see. Tono stayed stagnant in 4th, but then quickly lost ground to the top 3. He was about a second, 1.2 seconds behind when the safety car came out. Cynicals dropped 2, Slayer Eyes up 1, Anbu up down 1. I think Slayer Eyes may have even gone better if he wasn't 3 wide with Nicky and Tono going through the first corner. That one was quite a difficult one to be a part of for Slayer Eyes, but he somehow come out in the positive direction there. Ray up 4, Gamboa up 3 since the start. Frenchie down 4 and will drop more, and Cam Tizzle down 2, and that is your recap so far. Once again, here are the tire lives for you. Safety car in this lap. The debris and the damaged cars have been cleaned rather quickly here, and we will have our 4th lap of racing. Well, it will restart the race here. I think Tono will probably need to get around Nicky64. I'm just concerned that the differentials between the soft and the medium tires aren't actually going to mean that much. That's going to be what I'm looking out for here, as Posh Josh decides to get a good jump here as they round turn 14 and already opening up a good gap to the rest of the grid as they head down towards turn number 1, as it looks like there goes Travis Scott on his way in. For some reason, I'm not rightly sure why he's decided to pit. Tono, does he look for anything around Nicky64? The answer is no. Knuckles, however, did go down the inside of Ambu Mason, will promote himself to the 7th spot, but does he hold on to it? The answer looks like it's going to be no. He'll have to survive round the outside through turn 2. He's definitely been the later on the brakes there. Ambu's still right there on the left side. Knuckles does manage to get the position. Very nicely done. As the top 4 is concerned, in fact, top 5 I'll even throw in, as Cynical is right in on this battle as well on the medium tires. I know Slayer Eyes is in this as well, kind of. He's about a second behind the driver ahead, which is Cynical, who we're on with now. So we'll stick along with Cynical as they make their way through Sector 2. At the moment, it looks as if the drivers on the soft tires being able to manage to stay within 0.5 of a second of the driver ahead. They do not have DRS yet, but let's look at Tono here as they make their way through turn 13, right up against the gearbox of Nicky64, not able to make anything happen yet, but let's just see. Nicky64 definitely has conserved the battery better, and I will assume will be able to use his battery to defend from the McLaren behind. Let's see what happens as they venture down towards the first corner. Cowboy didn't try anything on Posh. Tono didn't try anything on Nicky. Cynical has gone, he's slightly closing in on this battle. Has to be said, Slayerized, who we mentioned before, now is outside of 2.5 seconds to the top 5. Not what he needed. Tono might be having a look at Nicky 64 here. I think Nicky may have botched the line through turn 2. May leave himself vulnerable. Let's find out. Exiting the corner, he's gone wide there. That'll surely be a warning. Within 0.4 of a second. No DRS in play, obviously, throughout the remainder of the lap. Let's go along here with Ray Ray. Actually, let's go along with Sweet. He's within a couple of tenths here of Gamboa. In fact, within a couple of tenths, 3 of them to be exact. As we go along here, oh, I tell you what, he almost wanted to have a look down the inside through turn 8. Thought better of it, however. Tono now, as soon as I say that he wasn't close enough to making a move, he's now within 0.3, so we're back along with the McLaren as they make their way through 13. Let's see what he decides to do here. Trying. He's not going to have DRS just yet. Overtake in use. Posh Josh fastest lap whilst he's in the clean air. But how much of a pressure and a problem does Cowboy choose to be throughout the remainder of the lap? DRS in play? Well, maybe not. I'm not really sure how that works, to be honest with you. Tono down towards turn 2. Still doing his best to try to find something to the back of Nicky 64, but Nicky is actually starting to lose ground back to the top 2. Now, that is definitely, as you can see, Cowboy's gone wide. I'm assuming we're definitely going to have a race plagued by time penalties here. Let's go along with Ambu. He's within 0.2 of Knuckles ahead. Knuckles has just gone wide through 4. Through turn 5. Really don't want to touch that curbing on the inside. That will send you for a spin if you hit it. Nice camera angle this. Too bad that chicane is terrible. Anyways, as it goes now, mind you, the Haas of Jorde is trying to find himself in on this one as well. As they make their way through the remainder of Sector 2, Postdoc has gone out to a 1.1 second lead, 1.2 over that of Cowboy. And that's the thing with these cars. We talk about these DRS trains. If you do lose the immediate slipstream to the car in front of you, you will fall back. And that's what's happened with Cowboy. Now let's see if that's what happens with Tono here, as he's got DRS on Nicky 64. I believe we have a huge accident towards the back. It is another safety car, as Anbu Mason's gone around. Knuckles, I believe, has had some sort of play in that, as he's received a 5-second penalty for the collision with Anbu Mason. I'm not really sure how that one works out for Knuckles, because realistically, yeah, I'm not entirely sure, because I think Ambu was already spun around, and maybe he just spun around in front of Knuckles, and that's why it's gifted him the penalty. Well, the safety car out for the second time here. Yet again, negates the progress that Posh Josh has made on gapping the rest of the field, because, oh, by the way, he was out to over a second lead over that of Cowboy. It looks as if Tono has not completed the move around Nicky. He was dead on side by side between the both of them at the time the safety car came out, and I think the game may have told Tono to give the spot back, either that or he's done it on his own will. I'm not quite sure how that's going to play out. My question is now, with just over 30 laps to go, no, we are still outside of the time period in which we'd get cars coming in for the hards. Well, I say that, Cowboy has apparently not read that memo. He's on his way in. Oh, and nearly lost it in the pit lane there as well. Cowboy, the only taker for the pits at this point in time. I don't believe we have anyone else coming in. We do have one. It's the AlphaTauri of Cam Tizzle. Hard tires going on there for Cowboy, as now he exits the pits on what looked to be... What in the Star Wars were those helmets that the Williams crew was using? Those looked brilliant. Anyways, Cowboy finds his way out P10. Puts himself ahead of Swede. I still think he's gone way too early, but we'll have to wait and see. Safety car sorts itself out. I'm going to step aside for the time being. This is an interesting one here. Well, it's Knuckles serving his 5-second penalty. He has decided to fit the softs. Now, that's a bold decision. 17 laps at the most, so that'll last him about lap 28. roughly. Yeah, sounds about right. I don't know math. Anyways, yeah, Posh still in the lead of this race. Now, this is an interesting thought that just crossed my mind. Those hard tires will last between 23 to 26 laps. We're about to enter the 10th lap of the Grand Prix. Do we see a mad dash of drivers, assuming the safety car is in this lap, do we see a dash of drivers come in and fit the hards here at the earliest possible convenience? It's a very unorthodox thing to happen, but I tell you what, this is definitely a track in which strategy is the most prominent form of success, and I think it might just be crazy enough to work. We'll have to wait and see how that one plays itself out. To my knowledge so far, only one red flag has ever come out in Midwest history. It was Division 3, round 1 in Silverstone, in the wet, off the start, and the safety car will make its way in this lap. Posh Josh on the medium tires has had a relatively easy day so far. I'm concerned about Nicky 64 being in this second spot. He was definitely losing ground to the two cars ahead of him at the time before the safety car, that being Cowboy and that being Posh Josh, currently in the lead. He lost, I think, at least a second of his time back to the Alpine ahead. I think Tono he didn't really play it too aggressively on the last start. I think he's going to need to now. Let's go along with that of Slayerized as we watch the race once again get underway here. And oh, by the way, Tono already on the back of Nicky 64. It's going to be a drag race down the straight here and into the first corner. Tono's got the inside line, but who gets the better traction off the first corner? It looks it's even Stevens. Nicky 64, however, pulls away and then pulls himself in front of the McLaren, but only for the time being as Tono swaps out of the inside and they make contact and they hit heavily, and there is a yellow flag towards the back somewhere. Several drivers are losing spots and a virtual safety car is out on track. And it was Slayerized off towards the back that has caused the virtual safety car in his Aston Martin, and he is losing the entirety of his front wing and not what the Aston Martin team needed. Aye, not ideal there, and I tell you what, Cynical almost had the door absolutely held open for him as Nicky 64 and Tono went careening into each other in the second corner. It was more or less the McLaren on the inside and the banked wheels on their way in. And yeah, that one almost resulted in pain. This is what we expected. We thought Tono was a little bit too passive on the first start, the first safety car restart, and I tell you what, as we're back to green flag racing here, I do not expect Tono to give up his aggression any less. I think he's got Nicky 64 on the ropes here. Whether Nicky 64 is going to agree with me or not, I think is a moot point really, because Tono has got the power in that McLaren at the moment on the soft tires. Now, once again, the soft and the mediums, I don't think there's all that much of a difference between them, especially when they're in the middle of the runs like this. So we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, Nicky 64 only has 0.3 of a second back to the McLaren, but it is more than he had last time round. And I tell you what, Tono has not been able to make the move happen. And I think he's maybe gotten turn 2 a little bit wrong there, because now drops another 0.2 of a second back to the Alfa Romeo. Let's see what happens. Oh, he's hit the apex curb. He's gone wide. I think he's really had to lift there. Cam Tissel getting around Sui there. Thankfully, that was before turn number 4, because that one almost ended unbelievably bad. As it looks like Ken Knuckles and Frenchie battling there as they exit turn 5, and that one was sorted before they made their way through the chicane. Cowboy here, fresh hard tires, is going to be looking to get past Gamboa. What does the Williams driver have in store? Remember, he pit when the safety car came out. Well, that was not all that neatly taken from the Ferrari. Cowboy had to look down to the inside, but no room available to make the change happen. As we were saying, Cowboy pit at the beginning of the safety car, and I think that was way too early to pit for these hard tires. DRS is enabled, but I think Cowboy is either going to really have to conserve, or he's just flat out made a mistake, and I'm not rightly sure which is the correct answer, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, as it looks like here, Ferrari down to the inside of the AlphaTauri Ray nearly collided, but thankfully they were able to pull out of the maneuver in time. The top 3 have now gone outside of 2.5 seconds of each other. I think the gap from leader back is yet 2.7. Cowboy nearly had to look there at Gamboa through turn 2. The AlphaTauri Ray Ray's gone wide. Gamboa nearly lost the car off the curb. And he really swerves right back in front of Cowboy, I think more or less to collect the car. And as we saw there, Ray Ray nearly lost it going through 5. Gamboa is really doing his best to defend here. Cowboy has to be absolutely frustrated with the Ferrari ahead, because I think realistically, I'm not sure if it was a block or if he tried to correct it out of turn 4. Did he have a slip and that was the culprit as to why, as Sui and Knuckles side by side here as they make their way through turn 13 now, as Knuckles has the outside really into the paint there, and look at him go. He's nearly got that spot. Yes, he does. As Cowboy now down to he's actually gone around the outside of Gamboa. It's going to be a drag race down the front straight now, as it looks like this. Gamboa is actually right behind. Oh my God, I can't even tell. It's 3 wide down to the first corner. Well, the Ferrari of Gamboa has come out on top. Cam Tizzle and Cowboy were both in that battle, and now Gamboa has actually fallen. Once again, so much going on here. Such a fun Grand Prix. I'm wondering what happened to the Ferrari of Gamboa there, because they were 3 wide on their way into the corner, and then suddenly the Ferrari had lost ground, and that was slightly unusual how that's happened. I'm not quite sure, but Cowboy now, well, I don't think he's actually gained or lost anything in that entire exchange. I think Cam Tizzle just been the one to come out on top there, as the AlphaTauris currently occupy 7th and 8th. And it's pretty evenly split amongst the top 6 cars, as Sui and Frenchie here side by side through the 10th corner, down the hill, the 11th corner, as now the AlphaTauris may be racing, may be switching positions. Cam Tizzle, it's Cowboy down to the inside of Ray Ray. He'll have the outside through 14. Does he have the acceleration on exit of the corner? The Haas has gone around ahead. So Jordi has spun there across the... Oh my goodness, he nearly took the Red Bull with him. But Jordi has spun, and now Cowboy on the outside. Does he have anything for the AlphaTauri of Ray Ray? Still side by side as they head down the hill towards turn 2. Ray Ray still on the outside here, trying his best. But I think Cowboy's got the better acceleration. Yes, he does. He's on the fresher tires. Let's not forget 6-lap-old hards compared to Ray Ray's 13-lap-old mediums. While we were away, Tono temporarily got within a second and Mickey 64 ahead. But if you're still on the soft tires, well, you are. If you're Tono, you're the only one on who started the race on the softs. You're going to be coming in here in just a couple of laps' time. The two Ferraris of Knuckle and Gamboa here, within a couple of tenths of each other. Sui and Frenchie, now this battle has gone on quite a distance here so far. That's been fun to watch, and the Ferraris, I believe, has just swapped positions as Knuckles has gotten around his teammates of Gamboa. Let's see how hard Gamboa chooses to fight here. It doesn't look like it's going to be much. Oh, that was a bit of a slip there. Knuckles, mind you, on the fresh softs. He took it under the last safety car, in which he had to serve his 5-second penalty for the apparent collision between himself and that of Anbu. Now, Cowboy, does he have anything for Cam Tizzle here? The answer is no. Jordi is going to be making his way in as we expected. I don't really think he's hit that much, although maybe he's scuffed the tires, and that's probably what's happened. Neat little battle here for the 5th spot. Cam Tizzle within 3/10 to Josh Sr. Cowboy was temporarily within 3/10 to Cam Tizzle, but had that wiggle coming out of turn 3. The Mercedes pushes wide. Cam Tizzle stayed low to the inside. Not really any advantage gained or disadvantage lost. Oh, but Josh Sr.'s gone wide. And now, does he lose the spot to Cowboy as well? They're side by side. Cowboy has afforded Josh Sr. plenty of space there. And I think, yep, I would definitely say that those were 2 clean overtakes made on Josh Sr. then. Cam Tizzle down to the inside. Cowboy saw the opening and wanted to get his nose in there, and did. And Josh Sr., I think, went off track in his own safety. I don't think he was forced wide. But, as it turns out, Knuckles just gotten around Ray Ray then. So it's 0.7 of a second as these two make their way in towards the first corner. Now, I'm actually quite surprised that Tono is finding even more pace on the softs, who, by the way, should only have about another 2 laps left in their tire life. How has Tono suddenly closed the gap? I'm assuming some sort of mistake was made by Nicky that's allowed the McLaren behind him to get back within striking distance here. Back along with Cowboys, he tries to go along with Cam Tizzle up the hill through 4. Not quite half distance yet, but we are just about there. We'll say about a quarter of the race has been spent under the safety car. Have to wait and see what happens. Tono now within 0.4 of a second on Nicky 64. I do not get what pace he's pulling out here, but it looks like I think he's going to be coming in this time by. Let's see what he does. The answer is no. He's staying within striking distance of Nicky 64 here. He has the opportunity. He's been looking for one for some time now. He's gone very heavy over the exit curb. I think he straddled the curb for a minute, maybe almost lifted the car off the ground. Tono has gotten around him, but only just. And look at this, he's going to get a double dosage of DRS here. Oh, Nicky 64 has gone right into the side. Well, we don't typically see Nicky 64 retaliate in any way. So I'm going to assume that was a mistake from the Alfa Romeo, but he's gone clean into the side of the McLaren. And we do have a yellow flag. It is the Aston Martin of Slayer Eyes, who I think maybe was on pace to have a good day at the beginning of this Grand Prix, and now finds himself 7 spots in the negative direction. Not good for him. Who I think, realistically, had himself a real shot at today's Grand Prix. That's unfortunate for him. But Nicky 64 within 0.3 here of Tono. Once again, let's not forget Tono's going to have to pit sometime within this next 2 laps here. Nicky 64 not necessarily making up all that much ground. He also has his pit indicator lit up on your multifunction display at the bottom of the screen. Now, before I had a slight technical difficulty again. I was going to say it was a bit of a game of cat and mouse as Josh Sr. and Knuckles find themselves side by side. Oh, that was a big slip then from the Ferrari. And he's lost that spot. I was going to say, I think we might be looking at a game of cat and mouse here between Tono and Nicky, as both of them look like they want to be coming into the pits here shortly. Oh! And there is a slip and a spin by Josh Sr., and he finds himself tucked in the grass. Exiting turn 3, Gamboa, I assume, has just picked up a 3-sec for going over the curb out of turn 4. Let's see who caves this time. Who decides to come in? Is it that of Nicky? Is it that of Tono? Tono's gone wide. Well, I think that must have been an error there. Remember, both of them on very heavily used tires. Now, let's see what happens. Does Tono come in? Yes, he does. Nicky 64 stays out. And once again takes the 2nd spot. Now, Tono, I think, won't be losing all that many positions here, but he will be losing a good chunk. Gamboa is on his way in as well. Oh, that's a slide. Let's see, how's the stop here for the McLaren? Very nice and easy. He's gone to the mediums. Oh, but I believe we have... Well, who is that? That's just gone off. I believe Cowboy has just had a small slide coming out of turn 1. As now the AlphaTauri of Ray Ray gets out of his way. So I'm not rightly sure what's happening here between Ray Ray and Cowboy. They've kind of gone back and forth, giving each other positions. Maybe was there contact from the AlphaTauri behind, and that's what caused him to lose the spot, I think. Feel pretty spread out now. We do have a nice little battle going on for P14 between that of Slayerized and Jorday here. Only one 3-second track limit penalty handed out here. It's that of Gamboa, and Josh Senior's just lost the spot to him. We've had, oh, what was that? Bit of a wiggle there from Gamboa. That again. Just some sort of I'm not sure what the key is. Josh Senior has just recently had a small slide, and so he's going to be coming into the pits now. Once again, the battle between Jorday and Slayerized here as we find ourselves this next time by with 15 to go. See if anything happens here. It looks like Slayerized, well, he does have DRS. Does he find anything to the Haas of Jorday? The answer is no. Tono, who hit not long ago, he's within 8/10 and closing a Frenchie. Cowboy might be having a look at Knuckles here shortly. Knuckles 11-lap-old softs, Cowboy 12-lap-old hards. How does he look for it here? He's going to go down the... Well, I tell you what, I think he may have backed out of that one a little bit prematurely because I think he really would have had that move happen as Tono and Frenchie side by side here. Sorry, am I... Oh, is this a back marker that we're looking at ahead? I'm not quite sure what's happening anymore. Knuckles is on his way in. We did have Travis Scott battling Ray Ray. That's who was battling there. We were on with Tono. We thought he was involved. The answer was no. As we're now looking at, that's Knuckles on his way in. Tono, as he watches Travis Scott down to the inside on Ray Ray through the first corner. Travis Scott, oh, that was a slip. Oh, no way, does Tono try to go down the inside here? Oh, he definitely had a look. Oh, as the two Honda Power cars collide ahead of him. Travis Scott into the grass. Tono's going to go around the outside. And there was definitely some argy-bargy going on there between the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull. They had made contact through two, allowing Tono to get the spot. That one may be looked at later on. I hate to use the word extracurricular, but there wasn't really any reasoning for the contact to be made. So 0.3 of a second here from Tono, who's freshly pitted, back to Ray Ray. Is he going to get him coming out of turn 11? I think he's definitely going to have a look. Ray Ray on the outside through the apex of the corner. Tono's taking it nicely, but he's still side by side with the AlphaTauri. He's going to have to go the long way around. Travis Scott, as he watches on, there's a little bit of contact. Travis Scott on his way in. Tono down the inside, and he's made that one happen. But does Ray Ray have something here, considering now he has DRS in his favor? As they make their way towards turn 1. And the answer is going to be no. Gamboa fastest lap, 1:18.860 for the Ferrari. A little bit hesitant getting on the throttle there was Ray Ray. I would assume his tires are quite far along here. Yeah, 21 laps. Mediums can go 20 to 23, so he's within that window. He'll need to come in here shortly. Meanwhile, Sui and Jorday battling it out here. Josh Senior's just set the fastest lap. 0.3 of a second between these two. It looks like Slayerized and Josh Senior, they're side by side coming out of the first quarter, and Slayerized gets demoted back to P15. Cynical has Ray Ray in his sights. Ray Ray once again on old tires. What does Cynical have here? Does he have the ability to get him out of turn 11? He's definitely going to go for it. Down the inside. Man, that one got really close yet again. Through turn 13 they go now as they make their way through what is, realistically a carousel-type corner. And then again through 14, and Cynical does have that move made as Ray Ray stays out yet another lap. Gamboa fastest lap once again. Not within DRS range of Ray Ray ahead, although it certainly looks like he's getting very close to being within DRS range. Certainly heavier on the brakes there. I think he's going to have a fair go at him here. No DRS yet again. He's missed out on the activation point, but still ever so closer to Ray Ray, who is slipping and sliding all across the circuit here on his very used tires as we have an Alfa Romeo off, and it's Nicky64, who went out of turn 7. He's spun it coming out of turn 7. And I don't... Well, he's only lost the one spot to Cam Tizzle. That is not ideal for the Alfa Romeo driver there. Oh, he's just had another hiccup. Yes, he has. Spins it round. Oh, has he beached it? The answer is no. Well, that one... Yeah. Well, it was a case of damage limitation for Nicky 64, and I'm afraid the damage has, in fact, not been limited. Here's Tono down to the inside. He had a look at Cowboy. He'll have another one here. Down the inside. Yes, does have it. Oh, by the way, 23 seconds back to Posh Josh in the process. Ray and Nicky both on their way in. I was wondering why the gap was staying stagnant at this rate. Let's see what happens. Nicky 64 hasn't hit anything, but he'll be going on to the hards. Ray on his way in. He'll go to the softs. Interesting. Bold strategy calls here as they're going to get demoted back down outside the top 10. But I think on the softs, Ray might be having a go. Shortly, once he gets back up to pace. Sweet, you can tell, I think he's had to go in a gravel trap somewhere. Or in the grass or something, because that car... slightly filth, has to be said. He's not really gaining on Jorday either, staying outside of 0.8 of a second. So the closest battle on track remains that of Josh Sr. back to Ray, back to Nicky 64. Now Ray, I'm hoping his struggles have come to an end here, because I'm hoping they were just because of the old tires. I'm seriously hoping that he's not really, lost ground or something because of car control. As Posh Josh into the pits, he's attached to the softs. Does Tono come out ahead? No, in fact, he does not. He's still just under 2 seconds behind the Alpine, as a matter of fact. So Tono's played this quite well. My question is, does Cam Tizzle need to pit? Ooh, that's a close one. 10 laps on a tire that it's only supposed to last 9 more laps, as Slayerized is off in the grass. And it goes from bad to worse for Slayerized as Ray and Nicky 64 battling it out here. Josh Sr. still in pursuit, and it is the Alfa Romeo who has lost the spot to the Alpha Tauri. Either that or he's failed to capitalize. Either one. Oh, that's a big wiggle there from Senior. Does he save it? Yes, he does. As he said, that was a great save then. Meanwhile, Ray seriously putting the pressure here on Sweet. Is he going to get him into the chicane? He's going to look for it. He's down to the inside. What a move there from Ray. And oh, by the way, he's lost the spot to Nicky 64 as well, so Sweet loses 2 spots in the span of 2 corners that realistically overtakes should not be made on. That was pretty neat. Anyways, here's Frenchie within 0.7 of Jorday ahead. Hey, what, the gap's starting to get closer here. Might be Frenchie on 3-lap-old mediums, as we are now within 10 laps to go. Cam Tizzle is losing a lot of ground, and he's losing it fast. The gap was about 6 seconds when Posh Josh came out of the pits just a couple of laps ago. As here goes Frenchie down to the inside of the Haas. Does he make it work? The answer is yes, perhaps. It is very close. As the side-by-side still... Oh, look at this. Ray's going to try around the outside. He nearly had him on the brakes. Good effort from Ray, as it looks like Josh Sr. and Sweet behind, battling it out. Ray's going to get it, but he's got to go through turn 4 to do it. He's got the move made before they go up the hill. Very nicely done there. But here goes Nicky 64. He nearly looking to the inside of Jorday here. The gap between Posh Josh and Cam Tizzle now down to, well, actually nothing as Posh Josh takes the lead. Travis Scott just picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Not what he needed. Posh Josh sets the fastest lap. And I don't think Cam Tizzle's going to be getting any closer to the Alpine, and this is going to be the most he sees of him for quite some time. Side by side go Nicky 64 and Jorday here. And Nicky has now gotten around the Alfa Romeo. look ahead. Ray Ray and Frenchie, who, by the way, on very even tires. 3-lap-old softs versus 5-lap-old mediums. Well, here comes Ray Ray down to the inside, and I think he's going to have this one quite easily, as it turns out. The answer is yes. Nicely done from Travis Scott, but we have a yellow flag. In Sector 2, it's Slayer Eyes getting out of the way for the leaders. No danger at all. Does he have him? Uses all the slipstream he can through Turn 4, side by side. I tell you what, Travis Scott's pulled that one off. Around the outside, up through Turn 4. That was neat. He's not... I don't even think he's gone wide at track limits in doing that. That was brilliantly done. Tip of the cap there to Travis Scott. That one was very solid indeed. As we look here, the two Williams drivers, as we have Josh Sr. and Jorday. Jorday has gone for a slight spin, as it turns out. Interesting thing we have here with the two Williams drivers. Do we watch them defend each other, or do they invert position? It looks like for now, they're going to allow them to race. Although Cynical with DRS and 10-lap pressure tires, I mean, I don't really think he's going to be making that solid of a push to Tono with the laps that we have given left. But it is certainly an interesting thing to think about as Nicky64 goes down to the inside on Frenchie. That overtake has been made and quite easily looking as well. And also, by the way, the next dose of DRS going in favor of the Alfa Romeo. Once again, the two Williams cars very close to each other indeed here, within half a second. As we are within 10 laps to go now. What happens here? Is that Cowboy down to the inside on Cynical? Yes, it is. Sorry, Cynical down to the inside on Cowboy. And again, this is a very stressful point here for the Williams team. I know they have Gamboa in pursuit. Gamboa, by the way, has set the fastest lap multiple times this race. And I tell you what, has now found themselves within 3/10 of the Williams. As it looks like, are the Williams going to invert position here? They're side by side. Cowboy down the inside. The door might be open for the Ferrari. I tell you what, why are they fighting? Just pick one. I know Gamboa's got the 3-second penalty, but come on, guys. This is not the time to be fighting for spot here. Oh, and there goes Cowboy. Has he saved it? He has. Well, in the fighting between Cowboy and Cynical, Cowboy went wide. I'm assuming nearly found his car in the barrier coming out of Turn 3, but decided to hold on. And now finds himself behind the Ferrari, but the Ferrari, again, has the 3-second time penalty. But why on earth the Williams kept fighting that aggressively and for that long? Obviously, Cynical was on the quicker tires. If I was Cowboy, I would have let him have the spot. Man, that is something that I honestly... Oh, Gamboa, does he save it? Yes, he does. That was actually a pretty good save there, as we said. That one got rightly close to being disastrous, but he's held on to it quite nicely. That one may. I hate to assume the worst, but I think that may cause a little bit of a stir. Here's Nicky64. He's got less than 4/10 to Ray Ray. That was a big snap then, going through 14. Caution's out. It's a Williams exiting the corner. And it's Cowboy in the barriers. Well, he's found the Armco barrier on the inside of the track, and when he could have had 5th, he now finds himself 6th. And he'll definitely be outside the top 5 now. By the way, here, Gamboa within just a couple of tenths of Cynical here with closing in on 5 laps to go. Wonderful pace shown by the Alpine and Fox Sharks today. He's had absolutely no competition aside from the safety car restarts, and even then he kind of made those look easy. Nicky64 finds himself within 4/10 of Ray Ray here. Ray Ray finds himself within 4/10 of Knuckles ahead. 3-car battle for the 8th spot. I tell you what, Nicky would definitely like to have that. He needs the rebound after what we saw happen to him. Doesn't look like he's going to be quite close enough to get it yet. Oh, we have a yellow flag. Knuckles is spun. Unfortunate for him, but who I wanted to go along with, Tono, was within just a little bit of Cam Tizzle there. As Gamboa and Cynical now side by side. Gamboa has the spot and the DRS, and I would think the better tires as well. Only just 12-lap old mediums to 13-lap old hards. I'd say it's pretty even between those two. Tono within 0.4 of a second with 4.5 laps to go. 0.3 of a second and counting. Tono 12-lap old mediums. Cam Tizzle trying to do what I would think is the impossible here and take those hard tires over 27 laps. I don't know if the tires are starting to catch up with him here, or he is genuinely trying to conserve, because he is losing significant time to Posh Josh. He's back 14 seconds now, as it looks like soon enough he's going to be overtaken by the McLaren here. I think that's the signal to pull down to the inside of the circuit. Although Tono doesn't look like he's close enough to actually make it happen. I think Slayer Eyes has had another go coming out of turn 1. Yes, he has, but the two positions nearly switch. But Tono wasn't close enough to make it happen, and now finds himself actually losing time. Nicky64, goodness me, nearly went down to the inside of Ray Ray there when there wasn't room to be had. Well, he's looking for it now on the Aston Martin. AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin. Yep, I'm confused. Ray Ray switches down to the inside. Nicky64 is going to have to go the long way around, but he's made at least 3 overtakes today on the outside. Let's see if he makes another. Well, I think he may. Yeah, Nicky64, I think he's going to have it. It's going to be really close. He has the preferred line into 2. Remember, these two got really close earlier on, and Nicky64 makes the move happen. Very nicely done for the Alfa Romeo. Oh, by the way, Ray Ray's not done yet. 8-lap old softs. I would still think, I think this is probably about the crossover point now for those soft tires. Meanwhile, 2.5 tenths between Tono and that of Cam Tizzle. Cam Tizzle switches down to the inside. Tono's going to have to take the right. Oh, that's contact! Well, that one nearly went preposterous then. Tono has the position. They're side by side. How does Cam Tizzle respond with the preferred line to the 2? Nope, Tono's going to pull around him here. Well, that one nearly went catastrophic, didn't it? The contact was definitely made heading down the pit straight, and well, I tell you what, that one got scary. Well, Nicky64, what does he have on the Williams of Cowboy here? He's down to the inside, and he's going to make it happen. Cowboy 25-lap old hards. Or maybe a little contact there on the well, they don't have diffusers anymore, do they? On the gearbox. Ray Ray really riding the inside curve there. Posh Josh crossing the line now. I believe he has 2 laps to go. Well, he's crossing it here in a second. 2 laps to go to a masterclass from him, but the action is not done yet. As Cowboy within a couple of tenths here of Ray Ray, and I think he was actually not that far away from Nicky64 not long ago, but he's had a slide through 5. And now the door might be open for the AlphaTauri. Oh, and there he goes, Cowboy. Finds the runoff then. Oh, no, oh my goodness. Okay. Well, that one certainly could have been worse. And I'm afraid for Cowboy, his day going from bad to worse rather quickly here. Just look one more time at the positions gained and lost. Gamboa up 14. He started dead last after not qualifying, well, not being in the session. I think at the moment he'd hold on to the 4th spot as well. He's over 3 seconds back to Cynical. Well, I'll tell you what, Cam Tizzle nearly picked up a warning then. Knuckles and Cowboy battling it out here. Cowboy has lost a spot, I think either due to mistake or something, I'm not rightly sure. Posh Josh rounding, as we do have Swede battling Josh Sr. here. Oh no, Josh Sr. is on his way in. Huh. Old call, maybe is he going for the fastest lap? That could be the reason then. Posh Josh exiting the final corner. He's got 1 lap to go here. as the field now, I think, realistically spread apart. Posh Josh has really had this all to himself today, has to be said. We do have Cowboy battling Knuckles, although they're not going to get another taste of DRS. Well, let's go along with him anyways. As they make their way through Sector 2 now, through the chicane. I don't expect Cowboy to be too gutsy here. 26 lap old hards. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's going to be a move that he's realistically going to be able to make here. Unless he really pulls out something special or Knuckles makes a ridiculous mistake. As they make their way out of turn 13. Posh Josh on his way out of turn 11 and down the hill for the final time as we have a yellow flag. It's the Alfa Romeo of Nicky 64. We'll go along with that in a second, but he's dropped down to P8 now. As Posh Josh coming out of the final corner. When you talk about masterclasses and you want to look up the definition in the dictionary, you'll see what Posh Josh just pulled off here. He wins the Hungarian Grand Prix, and oh, by the way, third in a row. Does he have the fastest lap as well? I think he may. No, I'm looking at the wrong tab. Yes, he does. It's not a Grand Slam for Posh Josh, but that's about as close as you can get to having one without actually having one. Brilliant day for the Alpine driver, taking home his third win of the season, and oh, by the way, in all 3 rounds. Tono has put up a great fight all day. He comes home second, Cam Tizzle third. Gamboa, driver of the day, up 14 spots. Cam Tizzle, oh, by the way, up 11 in his own right. Great showing from him. Travis Scott will be coming home here to finish 6th unless... Does he lose the spot to Ray Ray? No, he doesn't. The rest of the grid should be quite easily looked out for here. Nicky nearly had a look at Frenchie there at the end. It was a 10th and a half, the distance at the end of it. That one definitely got close. Oh, by the way, Gamboa only held on to his spot with his penalty by 0.2 of a second. But at the end of the day, it is the Alpine of Posh Josh taking the win here in Division 2. Back to back to back. He'll sure to be celebrating this one. After it's all said and done here in Hungary, it's Posh Josh taking home the win and the fastest lap from pole. Not a Grand Slam, only a couple of laps shy, but it was a really solid effort from him, and a one he will definitely remember for a long time, as it's his 3rd win in a row. Tono takes 2nd, Cam Tizzle 3rd, 4th, Gamboa driver of the day as well. 5th is Cynical, 6th, Travis Scott, 7th is Ray Ray, 8th, Frenchie, 9th, Nicky 64, 10th, Cowboy, 11th, Knuckles, 12th is Swede, 13th, Jorday, 14th is Josh Sr., 15th, Sleigh Rise. And unfortunately for Ambu, Mason, DJ, Knick-Knack, and Hightower, they were not able to finish out the Grand Prix. Next week, we head to Porksley's favorite track. It is the Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for what is sure to be an unbelievable Division 2 Grand Prix. Hotspot's been a pleasure joining you this week, and we'll see you next time.